Sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands. Oh my god, is it Stumpy? I won't shake hands for you, but at least we know who we are now. Did she really have to say that? I won't shake hands with you? It's not like she even had a choice, right? So why did she say that? Oh my god. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And? We'll think about it harder. It's true though, I must finish my project before the weekend. There'll be dire consequences if I don't. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? What's up people, we are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. The funny thing is actually that right before I started recording this video, like 2 minutes ago or something, my internet actually just died. And coincidentally enough, yesterday on stream we actually talked a little bit like how we've become so dependent on the technology, and then we ultimately came on the subject of the last time my internet went out, which was basically like more than a year ago. And during that time I was like, because I was so bored out of my freaking mind because how just dependent I am on my daily life of the internet, and not having any access to internet at all sucked so much. But seems like I actually just jinxed that before, because I remember saying on stream like, yeah, don't worry, it's not gonna happen. It only happens like once in a blue moon, so that was like last year. So I guess if I were to look outside, there's a blue moon right now, I'm guessing. So yeah, but you know what? I don't need the internet to play Katawa Shoujo, so we're just gonna continue with that. We were gonna help Rin with their project or painting or whatever. This paint doesn't fit onto my bag, but I need it, or into. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, of course, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us to do. I don't think the can has any choice in the matter. I seriously wonder about this picture, besides the fact that it's so freaky and weird and strange. Whose idea was it to actually put that picture up there? Was it like because one of the students created it and they're like, yeah, okay, we're forced to put it in there? Or what? Who actually thought that it was a good idea to put that painting there? Because I'm literally getting nightmares from it. The hallway is quiet and empty now, with Shizune and Misha gone. So we have to leave towards we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Or maybe I'm walking really weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast. I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai. What a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me, because obviously it's me he had some business with. There is something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively, because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that very long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages, or even changing to another kind of medication. So, we will do a few tests regularly, what I want for you to do is keep an eye on something or everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. And come see me if something happens. Alright. So, how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school though. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seems to be very tightly knit. At least, that's the feeling that I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. That's true, right? Because you either have to get... Because people that have a disability from birth are basically just... They will be in this kind of school from the very beginning. Whereas with us, where it just sort of gets... Either it happens halfway through your life or during a certain point in your life, or it gets found out later, because for us it was inside, right? So... yeah, I imagine those things don't occur that often, so that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, you actually probably grow up with a lot of the same people, because it doesn't just happen. It might happen occasionally, but I don't think it happens too often, where like, oh my god, my arm chopped off, alright, I gotta go to disability school. Like, that doesn't happen very often. So I don't think those people just suddenly join mid-semester and whatnot and throughout the year. So Rin, for example, they probably know each other, or at least depending on which year in the class they are, they probably know each other. Like, it's just such a tight-knit community, as they sort of mentioned, right? Because not a lot of new people go in. I'm not sure how, I mean, sure, after school is done, I assume that they just try to find a job within society, but as long as they're at the school, I feel like they always are surrounded by the same amount of people, or the same kind of people. The exact same people, not the same kind, what the thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. And what was that thinking about? We've been giving a lot of generic answers lately. Maybe we should let's just give one more. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool. So I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people. But that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times, like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back, like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you are still on your first week and all, but please, don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Oh my god. I mean, that should say something, right? For a doctor, we've only seen him twice now, but he always has sort of this big grin on his face. For him to look this serious now, we gotta take that seriously, right? We just... maybe yes. I feel like... yeah, we just gotta go with yes. Yeah, I promise. Definitely. He studies me for a moment, and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall, staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't even know her, so it's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder, quizzically, her head tilted like a bird. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there is some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Maybe we're still partly in denial. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a little while longer, and she neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all of this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. Look at the graffiti. Oops. I scrolled again. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of a painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with white and black against the grey plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces, and legs, and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground, besides the wall. See? The left side is hardly off the ground yet. Oh, this is her doing. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. And then it was suddenly morning. I think she meant sleep, not meditate. I don't think when you just meditate, like bam, the entire night is gone. I have to work on it. But the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. Oh god. And reach is better. And it's faster too. She goes on a tangent, off a tangent, waving a little with her arm. Or whatever it is there actually is. To demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does, but it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student's bases, special properties, has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So, that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of a statement that makes sense. It does though. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project? You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice. But I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. Yeah, how did she paint it? It's okay. You can say it. I probably won't get mad. She painted it with her feet, didn't she? She was eating lunch with her feet, so... Or was it like brunch? Was it brunch or dinner? I don't even forgot what I called it. Like, you know, pre-lunch or pre-dinner? After lunch? I don't know. Trying too hard with coming up with a plausible name for that. I blush really hard. I don't really know what will be the right thing to say, if any. It feels as that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See? I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I knew it. I almost guessed that already. But isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is. But maybe I'm used to it by now. I just feel like... I mean, the fact that she's already so accustomed to using her feet instead of her hands makes me feel like she either has had this disability for... She's born with it or has had it for like a really long time, of course, right? Because I feel like especially at a younger age, it just becomes so much easier to try and adapt to these things because you don't know what it would have been otherwise. Like, let's say you're 20 years old, you've lived 15 years of your life with arms and then suddenly lose your arms. Then you have this 15 years in your mind, like, I used to live this way, doing things this way with my hands, and then suddenly I don't have them. And you have to try and adapt with, she has done it with using her feet, of course, but I just feel like if you already know what it was like before this, it becomes so much harder to try and adapt, because then you knew what it was like before, and then you're like, well, the process of trying to adapt, for example, if you were then after 15 years to try to use your feet, you would just be like, oh my god, this is so frustrating, I wish I had hands or something like that. Whereas for her, it just probably just became natural because it's like, I never had arms anyway, I don't know what it was like having arms, I never knew what it was like having arms, so her next natural thing to do while still being somewhat an independent person, right? Because I would say that limbs are actually pretty important at being a independent person, that she just naturally started using her legs and feet and toes to grab things and do stuff basically as a replacement for her arms. So that's the sort of feeling that I have from her. Otherwise she would be really talented and just be able to make a switch that quickly, but either way I'm quite impressed by her. I mean, let alone that she just freaking painted that with her feet. Like, I can't even paint that good with my hands, you know, so dang. You're good at guessing. Anyway, alright, we had this already. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat. You know, flat. Like some people are. No substance. No meat. Where there should be some. Is she talking about boobs now, or that's the feeling I get? Ah, yeah, she was. I want to scroll back to that. I know a few girls who... Okay, I get it. But I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying, "Suit yourself," without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It really feels, or makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Oh my god. Every time just the mention of hands is, when it's mentioned around Rin, I just kind of get like, I don't know, it's not like I start to giggle or something, but it's just like, oh, couldn't they try to find a different words for that, you know? Or maybe they did try and they just couldn't come up with any other. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, you know, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy maybe? Oh, the guy from Breaking Bad. Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. It's funny that she calls it a heart thingy. That's probably how I would refer to something as well. Cause if I don't know the word for something, I always just replace it with thingy or thing or thingamajig, you know? She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. Wait, do what? So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl, like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Oh wow! Add a half splash of green. I crouch down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green. This green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of smile appears in the corners of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add more white. After this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and, you know, that you saw the meaning of life in your dream, but you can't remember it. What color is that, Rin? Come on. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful... So, I mean, she tried to give an analogy of sorts, right? You know, the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream, but can't remember it. Like, in a way, it sounds so vague and beautiful, but it's not a very, very good description when you're trying to describe a particular color to a person, because I have no freaking clue what the color is supposed to be of seeing the meaning of life in your dream, but then you can't remember it. What? Oh god, Rin. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. Magics! I spend the moments I have between mixing paint, crouching down on the pavement, and looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of the other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. That's because, when artists, I have a feeling that when artists are working, they are just so busy with this picture or image that they have in their head and trying to put that on canvas, right? Or on the wall or wherever you want to put it. So I have a feeling that if you don't want to talk to artists when they're like in the zone or whatever, because they'll probably get really angry if you get them out of the zone. Oops. And even though short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to converse words and breath and sound. Uh-oh, it's turning night already. We stay there late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. I can't see anything. That was actually kind of fun. Good morning, although it actually should be good night for me because I'm gonna end the video here. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. And in the next video, I don't even know what we're gonna do, because considering it's a new day, I don't know how many, I'm sure there's a lot of students at the school, but I don't know how many characters there actually are left for us to meet, considering we've probably met about a handful. Okay, let us try and think back. Misha, Shizune, they're like the package deal. Then you have Hanako, we met Lily, we met Emmy, and we met Rin now as well, and then the librarian. Who was the librarian? Yuko, I think. So that's 7, if I counted that correctly. So yeah, I don't know how many more there are left for us to sort of meet, but there are a lot of interesting people in there. So especially Rin now, I actually find her quite fascinating, considering how awesome she is at adapting to the fact that she doesn't have any hands and just being able to do those things with her feet. That's just damn impressive to me. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video here, so thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.